Our A+ question today is write 210 and 252 as products of prime numbers, then reduce the fraction 210 over 252. To start off, we're going to go ahead and do a factored tree to find all of the prime factors of each of these numbers. And when we put those together, we'll be able to write it as a product of prime numbers. So to start this off, we're going to go 210 and a factor tree. We just kind of split it into two numbers that multiply together to make 210. And so in this particular case, we can start anywhere. And I'm going to start with a 30 and a 7. Because I know that 3 times 7 is 21. So therefore 30 times 7 is 210. Splitting 30 into two factors, we can get a 6 and a 5. And the whole point of this is to go until we have all prime factors. I know 6 is not yet prime, so I can split that into 2 and 3. And now everything that I have left is a prime factor. I have a 2, a 3, a 5, and a 7. So to write this as the product of prime numbers, I can say that it is 2 times 3 times 5 times 7 is equal to 210. All right, now let's move on to 252. The number 252, I'm going to go ahead and split off. I'm going to start with actually the number 2. And I know that 2 times 126 is going to be 252. 2 is prime, so I don't have to do anything with that, but I can split this number 126. I know that it is also divisible by 2. And so I can think of 2 times 63 is 126. Again, 2 is prime, so I can leave that alone. And the 63 I can split into a 7 times 9. At that point, 7 is prime, but 9 can be split into 3 and 3. So I now have all of my prime factors of these, of 252. So I can write 252 as the product of 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 7 is equal to 252. I can also put that in exponent form, which would be 2 squared times 3 squared times 7 is equal to 252. All right, now the last bit of this math problem is to reduce the fraction 210 over 252, and we're going to use the greatest common factor in order to do that. Or we can use what we've just done to find the greatest common factor by looking at which prime factors these two numbers have in common. And I see a 2 in both of them. I see a 3 in both of them. I see a 7 in both of them. And so I know that 2 times 3 times 7 is equal to 42. That is going to be my greatest common factor of these two numbers. By dividing the top and bottom by the greatest common factor. I know that 210 divided by 42 is equal to 5. And I know that 252 divided by 42 is equal to 6. Of course, you could do the long division or use a calculator to find both of those facts, but it also is actually available to us in the work we've already done. I want to draw your attention to the numbers that we didn't circle. When we were looking for the greatest common factor, we circled the ones that the two numbers had in common. If we look at the ones that they don't have in common, we find a 5, and we find over here a 2 and a 3. And if you notice, 210, the leftover factor, you could say, is a 5, and that is our number up there. And for the 252, we had the extra prime factors were 2 and 3, and 2 times 3 is indeed 6. So by doing prime factorization, not only can you write these as products of prime numbers, but you can also find the greatest common factor, and you can reduce the fraction by either just dividing by the greatest common factor or by finding the factors that weren't in common. And there you go.